67 years ago, I asked my mom if she would mind me crocheting a bedspread, and so she said that would be okay. We got the thread, some thread, and the book and the material. We got ready to do it, and so I started working on it. And I worked on it until I graduated from school and went into nursing school. Had to leave it alone. I left it until somewhere in the 1980s, and I then got it out, and I worked on it quite diligently and got just about 3/4 of it done, and I put it away again, and I started on it sometime this summer, deciding that it was now or never if I was going to complete it. So it took me about 3.5 months to finally get the last part of the little doilies done and crocheted into the rest of the spread to finish what you see now. Each one of the little doilies is around 6 inches across in diameter, and they take somewhere between 3 to 3¼ hours from start to finish for each one. There are 31 across the bed and 30 from head to foot, and so you can do the multiplying and figure out approximately how long this did take. Plus it takes just close to an hour to just crochet one of the little doilies into the bedspread. But I decided that 67 years was just about long enough, so I did finish it before I got into another year, and I brought it to Missouri from home in Greensboro to my daughter Elaine for she and her family to enjoy, and I'm just real pleased to be through with it, and I've enjoyed working on it, and I hope they do enjoy it.
So can you tell us a little bit about the process of how you go about making the popcorn and what that means, what kind of a stitch it is and what that means?
Right. You start out with a chain of 12. You hook it into a circle, hook it together at the end into a circle, and then you do 24 double crochets into the circle. Then you start in with your crocheting a double crochet and chain 2, and then you start 5 double crochets in one spot. I'm going to chain the 2, and then I go into the second of the area there, and I make 5 double crochets into that one hole, and after 5 are done, I hook the top of the first and the last together, pull it up, and it makes the popcorn. And this is called a popcorn pinwheel bedspread. And I have the original hook in my hands that is 67 years old, and it has been bent from the years of crocheting. But you do this, and then there are certain amounts that you have to space between. I've memorized it after so many years of working that I have no trouble just going right back into doing another one of the original. Here I hook and make your little popcorn by drawing the 2 together. And then I chain 5. And there are 6 popcorns on the original down at the very beginning, and then you start with a 1, then you go 2, next row 3, and on up to 5 is the center row. Then you start decreasing to 4, then 3, then 2, and then 1 again, and you've made your pinwheel. And as you can see, it swirls around as a pinwheel would.
So are you starting a new one here?
I was doing a new one to have as a sample for her to put into a frame if she'd like. Maybe put it into a frame with the old hook if she would care to do that. So I thought I would do one more. And I've completed that first row with the 6 popcorns around. And then it just keeps increasing. And the way you do it, then you do the double crochets and 3 in between each one, and build up in a double crochet and 3 chains, double crochet and 3 chains. And that's what makes this little lattice work.
Okay.
And then the 3 triple crochets and chain 5, and then 3 more triple crochets that make this little pattern. But what makes the distinction here, instead of sewing this together, is crocheting it together makes another patterning that you would not have if you sewed them together, as most bedspreads are sewed. This one will not come apart in a whirlwind.
So did you you make each pinwheel separately and then you crochet them together?
Oh yes, that's the way you have to do it. And so each one gets put in, crocheted in. And what I did, I had this huge area that had been finished quite a few years ago, and I brought the smaller section, about so wide, with 7 of the pinwheels in, and I hooked the little piece and then this huge big piece. I crocheted together since I've been here in Missouri, and it took me a couple of hours for 3 different days to finish that up. And then I gave it to Elaine, put it on her bed. I believe it was Christmas Day or the day after Christmas when I put it on her bed. It wasn't a real Christmas present, but it's something she's been waiting for years, because I did do a tablecloth crochet for my older daughter, Ginger, and finally I got Elaine her bedspread finished that she's been anticipating for quite some time. She knew it was coming, but she never knew when.
That's an incredible achievement, Granny.
Well, thank you.
It's a work of art.
And it does become quite intense when you keep at it like I have for 2 or 3 hours and finish one completely and then start another one. You get your fingers start to get numb, especially these 2, but the ring finger is the one that gets the most pressure and the most pushing as you are working, because you do have to do quite a bit of effort in pushing and getting your crocheting into the right spots. The little holes don't always want to open up, even though they haven't been washed at that time when you were working on it. But because of the discoloration over the years, I did do some bleaching, and I removed most of the slightly brown that had developed in some of the pinwheels.
So where did you learn to crochet?
I sat for hours on a high stool when I was growing up, watching my mother crochet beautiful things, and I decided that I had to do something. So I have made a bedspread, and I've made now a tablecloth. And I may do some doilies, but don't tell my grandchildren.
All right, thank you, Granny.